Did you know the city of Westminster got its name from this building? Now home to the Pillar of Fire Church and the Bellevue School, it used to house the Westminster University back in the early 1900s, dubbed at the time as the Princeton of the West. On this episode of Westminster's Best, we'll be joined by City Councilor Bob Briggs. We'll discover the history of our city and how the hub of our city has changed over time. Our city boasts over 100 years of history. We are so proud of our heritage and our origins in South Westminster. Hey Bob, thought I might find you here hanging around the Pillar of Fire.
Jody, great to see you. This is a great building to start our conversation about Westminster history because this is where Westminster got its name.
Absolutely. Why don't you tell me how it all began?
It all began in the 1880s when the Presbyterian Church was looking for a university for Colorado.
Okay.
And by 1890s, this site was selected. It was called Crown Point, and if you could see the view from here, you'd understand why they called it Crown Point. The Westminster University cornerstone of this building was laid on June 6th, 1892. And at the same time, it was because it was a Presbyterian university, the Presbyterian Church started. And so the church has its history at the same time this building does.
Okay.
And Westminster got its name from this university because by the time it incorporated in 1911, the university had students and was doing well. And so the citizens at that point chose to name the town Westminster.
That is really cool how we got our name. I love that story.
Yes.
What a great building this is.
It is. It's a great building, and it's one that we can all be proud of every time we go by it. Most people don't know that it was a Presbyterian college or university, and now it's a pillar of fire. The board of directors of Westminster University in 1914 decided it ought to be an all-male institution because it was co-ed up until that point.
Right.
The war came, World War I, and it wiped out the student body, and that's the reason it's the Pillar of Fire today.
Sure, that makes sense. Well, I understand you're going to go visit another interesting building.
We are. One of the original founders of Harris, or Despain Junction as it was known before that, was a guy by the name of Edward Bowles.
Okay.
And we've asked Linda Sherrington, who's the president of the Westminster Historical Society, to meet us there.
Okay, well, how about you and I catch up in the Historic Arts District after that?
We will.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Well, hi, Bob. Welcome to Bowles House. Bob, I'd like to show you, this is the very first room, and I would like to show you a piece of our history, of which you'll see a lot more once you get into the museum. The one thing that we're very proud of, and that I show first, is the quilt. It was done by the third grade class at Vista Grande Elementary, and it was done after the city had restored the building. They were very instrumental in the saving of the building. The kids made the quilt blocks, and then the adults put it together.
It's a good-looking quilt.
We think so. Well, Bob, we're into this room, and this talks about a lot about with the Bowles family and when he came here. Edward Bowles came and began to build this house in 1871. That was the year he homesteaded the property. And it took him 5 years to build this house. This was a working ranch house. There were 9 children that were born and brought up in this home. When the city did the restoration, they used the picture at Bowles House taken in 1890. This is our 25th anniversary of the opening of Bowles House. Bowles House is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, which is quite an honor. And we're very proud of both of it. In this room, Bob, we've got different kinds of photos, but they're very, very interesting. We were part of the Denver Interurban, which was an electric line. So the electric line went in through Denver. It came up through here, and it went through up to Lafayette. It went through Semper, and it formed what looked like a kite, so they called it the Kite Lane. And when the university opened, then there was a real train car, and that was the M158. It's amazing to me to think that we had a train car going up Bradburn.
Linda, this has been a great tour, and thank you very much for taking time to be a part of this. How can people come and enjoy this building?
People can come by giving me a call, 303-426-1858. Right now we're open by appointment only. We'd love to have someone come if they would like to on Saturdays, but for right now all you have to do is call me, tell me when you want to come, and if it's a group, how many, and I'm here. And I thank you. I thank you for coming, Bob.
You're welcome.
Hi, Bob. How was the Bowles house?
Marvelous.
Great.
You know, every time I go, I learn more about our city, and I was delighted. Everybody ought to take an opportunity to go tour it.
Definitely. Well, I'm glad you met me here in South Westminster. I know that the City Council signed a proclamation back in 2009 to really get this area into an arts area. Can you tell us a little bit about the history and how that all started?
Well, to have the Arts District is very much good for the future of the city. This was originally outlined by C.J. Harris. C.J. Harris, when he put this all together, put in a restriction that thou shalt not serve alcohol. And so you don't see, like you do in other downtowns, the brick buildings and those types of things because of that alcohol restriction.
Okay.
And this building is the red and white building. It had 3 different ownerships during its history, and one was the Stuckey family. And the Stuckey family is important because their nephew was Donald Bradburn, who was killed in action in World War I in France, and the city named Connecticut Boulevard, they renamed it Bradburn, and so it's still an important part of our community today, and that's important. And across the street is the second City Hall. We call it Fire Station number 1 today, but it was the City Hall, the original fire station, and library was all located in that building.
Okay.
So, and then we can keep walking and
Okay.
we can look at another historic building.
Wow, the history just goes on and on.
And on and on. There's a lot of great things that have taken place in this historic Westminster. Now, this is the Grange Hall.
Okay.
It was built in 1913, and it was the center of our community because all the activities, churches met here, dances was held here, clubs, various clubs, and the Grange is still an organization that's still active today.
Well, I love coming down here to South Westminster, Bob. One of my favorite places is the Rodeo Market, which is right next door. It has such a great artist influence, and it used to be a food market, didn't it?
Yes, this building was built as the first Westminster supermarket, and in today's standard, it is pretty small, but in those days, it was pretty big, and Fred did a great job of operating. He was a community activist.
Well, Bob, you have taught us so much today. I really appreciate your time. I've learned so much about the history of Westminster. What a great place.
It is. It is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed learning about our great city, and you'll take the time to explore the amazing history that we all share, like right here in the South Westminster Arts District. We'll see you next time on Westminster's Best.